Building a website is only part of the whole process. You also need to track the SEO, the page ranking, keep an eye on downtime, see what needs to be fixed when it breaks, and a whole load more. This could be a full-time job in itself, but thankfully there are tools out there that make this potentially time-consuming undertaking considerably easier. Today I'll be taking a first look at Screpy, an AI-based website monitoring, tracking and analysis tool that is currently on lifetime offer over on AppSumo. There is an affiliate link in the description if you want to use that. Now in this video I'm just going to show you the options on offer and then let you make up your mind as to whether this is something that would be of use to you or not. With that said, let's take a look at what's on offer. To start off with, let's take a look at the deal itself over on AppSumo, what you're getting for your money and how much it's going to cost you. Now this is not a stackable deal, this is basically you pay once for it and you have access to the options that are part of the particular plan. This gives you 10 websites. Now if you wanted more, you couldn't stack on top of each other, you'd have to have separate accounts for each one, but you could purchase multiple different copies of this and then just register it under different login details just so you have access to more sites. Okay, so let's take a look at the plan. What you're currently getting is $49 and this gives you lifetime access to this particular sort of set of options. So you've got your audit for your SEO, your page speed analysis and monitoring, uptime monitoring, Google rank check-in for your SERPs on mobile and desktop. This is limited to 4,000 keywords and it's worth noting that if you were looking at mobile and desktop, that would count as 2 keyword credits, I believe. So you need to be aware of these kinds of things. Now, most of the things on here, like the analysis credits and so on, these do refresh every single month. So they're not a one-time lifetime. Once you've used them, they're gone. You have them refreshing every single month. You have 10 websites, syntax checker, analysis credits, on-demand analysis, 10 team members if you wanted to have a different team member that had access to an individual website or those kinds of things. So you have lots of things, speed tests, meta tag analyzer, SSL checker, domain checker, loads of options. And like I say, this is all under one code and this is $49 for lifetime. So if you want to take a look at more information, just go to screpy.com. That will give you a breakdown of all the features in more detail. And if we take a look at the actual pricing, if you weren't buying this through the AppSumo deal, you'll see this is a monthly or annual charge. So if you went monthly for the Lite, which gives you only 3 projects, we are sort of be planned underneath the Pro plan, which would be $24 per month currently, or annually $17 a month if you paid for it for the 12 months. And this gives you pretty much exactly the same as what you can see that we've talked about inside the AppSumo deal. There might be some slight discrepancies on some of the things you have with it, but we do have to bear in mind we are only paying once for this and then we get lifetime access to that plan. So if we hop back over into my dashboard for Screpy, you can see I've already gone ahead and added in a single website. Now this is not technically a fully live website. There's not a lot of content on there. It's not really been optimized or anything else. So this is a good example of what you're going to get if you're using this to monitor, track, take a look at what areas you need to sort problems out, those kinds of things. And adding a project is really, really easy. You simply click the Add Project button. You drop in the name that you want to associate with it and the URL. Hit save. Then it will go through and start to analyze the site and then start to come back with recommendations. And obviously this is something that's ongoing. So, this is going to be analyzed on a regular basis. So you're going to see the information fluctuate. And as you make changes and then you reanalyze the site, you'll start to see the changes that you make reflected inside your overall health score and any of the things that it says you need to do. So you can have up to 10 projects, we said, with this lifetime deal under one particular account. But if you wanted more, you could buy multiple copies and have it registered under different different login credentials. So this is your project overview. So when you have more sites inside here, you'll see more sites listed. It'll tell you the last analysis time, the next analysis time. It'll give you then statistics for 3 key metrics, your page speed, your SEO, and any issues. Ultimately, you want to get your issues to a 0, and the same goes for SEO. Page speed is something you want to get as high as possible. But you can see for my example, with an unoptimized site with probably several errors and things on there because this is still kind of in development, you can see I'm getting a pretty decent score to start off with. If we jump in and take a look at the project, this is where we can start to see more of the details and we can drill down to various different aspects or parts of this overall analysis of the site. We can also switch between desktop and mobile, so you'll see that the information will change based upon what type of device you're currently looking at. As you can see, the information there is changing ever so slightly. There's not massive differences there, but you can see. We've also then got information about any vulnerabilities that have been detected. You can see that I've got a couple that I need to fix inside JavaScript libraries. Then we can find out more information about the SSL, the domain, Alexa, Google rank, global rank. Now, obviously, I'm not ranking on there because this is a new site, but if you've got a more established site, you're going to see a lot more information being displayed to you. If we scroll down then, this is kind of an overview of some of the things that you may be having errors on, things that are working well, and you can drill down and take a look inside any of those for more details. So you can see at the moment, I'm looking pretty good for most things. I am missing a description on one page. I have some unused CSS. I've got missing structured data on one page. Content ratio isn't particularly good on one of those pages. And I've got some unused JavaScript. And my response time isn't great either. There's a little bit of an error there with one of the pages. Now, there's no CDN being used on this or no optimization, nothing at all. So these are things that I could probably quite easily rectify in most cases. We scroll down. There's our page speed, and like I say, this is not optimized. This will also fluctuate based upon the time of day, the amount of use on any particular server you're using, with your hosting company and so on. But this is going to be useful for a basic overview. Your page speed, your load time, your page size, and the FCP, which is your first contentful paint. In other words, when people can start to see information on your page itself as it loads. As you can see, I'm still getting good on there because they start to see content after 1.9 seconds, but that could be improved and optimized with a little bit of time and effort. Keyword rankings. Now, I currently don't have any keywords inserted into here, so nothing is being tracked for this. But to add keywords in is really easy. We'll add a keyword. This will open up then. We can say what location do we want to track this on. So if you've got an audience that's predominantly in a different country or the same country as you are, you can come in and you can say you want to track keywords in specific territories. So for example, I might want to sort of say that I want this to be in the United Kingdom, and I want to do things like freelance design, for a comma, freelance web design. You can kind of keep on adding more and more options inside there if you want to. Once we're happy, we'll hit save, and then that will start to track this as part of my site. So come back into the overview, let that refresh a second, and we'll scroll down. And you can see now we've got keyword rankings has been added in there. The total, how many in the top 10, top 50, 100, anything that's going up, anything that's going down. So you can see if something's going up, you can take a look as to why that's happening. And if you see that certain keywords are dropping, you can take a look at if you can optimize things a little better and squeeze just a little bit more performance out of there. Again, we're notified when the last analysis and when the next analysis is going to be taken, but you can refresh this manually. So if you think, well, 7 days is a little long, I've made some changes, you can simply scroll back up to the top. You can hit the Analyze Now option, choose the site you want to analyze if you have multiple, and then you can go through, let that analyze. Going to take a different amount of time depending upon the size of the site, those kinds of things, but you can kind of force it. And this is not limited. You can do unlimited reanalysis sort of checks whenever you want to. So if you make a change, reanalyze, give it a little bit of time to come back and, update the statistics and so on. Then we've got some uptime monitoring. So you can see this is saying average response time 2.15 seconds. I'm getting status code of 200. In other words, there's no problems. The period it's being checked every 5 minutes for any downtime, and then the average uptime you can see in this example is 100%. So there's been no downtime since I've been monitoring this particular site. Then we've got the issues we can look into. So you can see these are prioritized using red for really high priority, orange for normal priority, and then blue for low priority. And you can see we can show all, and we can get all the tasks, and this just basically hops us over from the overview section into the tasks section. Again, we've got the analysis, the last, the next, and the number of issues. We can reanalyze from this point. So we can easily come in now and start addressing those issues. Some of those are going to be easier, some of those are going to be a little bit more complex. So things like removing unused CSS rules is not necessarily the easiest thing to do when you're working with WordPress, but it is achievable. Same kind of thing goes for unused JavaScript. So you can easily come in now and start configuring everything, make sure things perfectly fine. If we view any of these, it'll give us a little bit of information about what this particular error is about. We can jump up for more information over to the Screpy website and find out some more sort of data to give us a better understanding. And then we can see what page or pages are affected by this specific error, issue, problem, whatever. And again, over the right-hand side, we get a priority. This is a critical thing. It's currently incomplete. It was created 6 hours ago, which is when I added the site, and updated last 4 hours ago was the last time it was checked against. So these are your tasks, and like I say, you can work your way through all of these until you got as many, if not all of those ironed out, and you will have a fantastic, well-operating, sleek and performant website. Next up on our list is the pages section. So we come into there, this will give us a list of all the pages, and we can choose what we want to add. Now currently we're only monitoring the home page of the site, so that's not going to be the use case for most people, but there's also going to be pages you don't really want to necessarily monitor. Things like privacy policy, cookie policies, terms and conditions, and so on. These are pages that they're not really there to get good traffic. They're just there because, well, legally they have to be there. So what you can do is you can look through all the pages that are part of your site, and then you can choose what you want to add and then analyze accordingly. So for example, we'll say I don't want my privacy policy or my cookie policy, but marketing and promotion, I might want to add that in there. Finances, business basics, the lean freelancer, how to reduce overheads, those kinds of things. So I can simply check any of these, and then you can see that's now pending. So that'll go ahead and add that in for me. Now if we take a look at the top, that's been added in. It's going to analyze that, and it's going to give us some data on it. So you can go through, update, choose the pages you want to include inside here. And if you want to remove any of these at a later date, you can simply remove it, or you can open it and jump over and take a look at the actual page itself. So once you've done that, like I say, that's going to go through, analyze everything. And once that's finished, it's going to come back and give you your SEO rating. It's going to give you a Lighthouse score and your W3C score. And you should find plenty of information inside here to make sure that you can optimize the site and everything has to go with it. So that's basically what the pages is there for. And this obviously is going to affect your overview, the tasks you have to do, all those kinds of things. So the first thing you should really want to do is come in, add the pages you want to add in for analysis, and then take a look at what needs to be done, your tasks, your overview, and those kinds of things. If we hop over to the page speed, this is basically going to ping sort of Google to find out what your page speed scores are and come back with an analysis on that. So you can see the page speed, your load time, your page size, and your FCP, all the same sort of status you can see inside the overview section. But then you're going to have a little bit more information about this, and it's going to be broken down onto the pages. So you can see if you have a page that is particularly graphic heavy, that's probably going to score a little lower than a page that's a little bit leaner. But this allows you to at least see how those pages, the content, the structure, the information, how that's going to affect the scores, the speed scores, and so on. And again, you can drill down and find out more information. So if we take a look at the page we just added, we can click to show more information inside there. That's going to go ahead and do a performance score on there. And as you can see, this is not performing particularly well, but like I said, it's not optimized. And again, you can switch between your mobile and your desktop, and you see my mobile was woefully bad inside there. But again, this is basically pulling in the data from Google's page speed. So you've got one localized location where you don't need to worry about jumping back out to that particular page to check your speed. You can just focus on everything inside here and reanalyze as you go through. So you can see most of the options inside here, other than the speed, are all looking fairly good, the accessibility and those kinds of things. But all that info is there should you need it. And like I say, the nice thing is it is on a page-by-page basis. And doing it inside Screpy means that you don't have to worry about copying URLs between your website and then actually page speed scores and so on. Keywords, if we hop over into the keyword section, this is just going to give us a more granular breakdown of those keywords. Now, we know there's nothing really ranking on this because it's a new site, but I can also come underneath now and I can see, I can break these down if I want to, and I can find out more information. So I can take a look at the results for a particular keyword as opposed to being for a global result. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. Like I say, there's not a lot going to happen here, but we can see there's the Google results. We can see what's ranking in the top. We can see we're outside the top 100 position. We can see that we don't have a best position inside here because we're not ranking for this. And we can see what related keywords are inside here. So we could add this keyword in if we wanted to. Quite good for your SEO analysis and so on. So quite a lot of information inside there. You can see we've got the top 30 results. So you should find actionable data inside here to really get stuck in and fine tune and tweak to make sure that you can start to optimize your pages and posts. Your SEO side of things is going to give you an SEO overview based upon the basic overview, the keywords, the headings, the canonical, images, and any links. And again, Not going to find a lot of data inside here because it's a new site. But you can see you can jump over to your keywords and you can analyze your keywords. And this is going to look at your pages. It's going to look at 1-word keywords, 2-word keywords, 3-word keywords. Quite cool. Show details. We can really dig down and find out everything about our page. There's a ton of information inside here. Whether you find it useful is up to you on how deep you want to go into your SEO analysis and so on. But there's tons of options inside there. We can also see anything we could do to improve various different aspects. So you can see we've got that unused CSS, the DOM size, and so on. Hop over to headings. This is going to tell us how many of a particular type of heading we have on our site. So if we have anything that's missing, for example, a H1, which should be on every single page, it would give us a red mark on this. We'd say we are missing on that. But you can see in this example on my 2 pages, I've got heading 1 through to 4, but no 5 or 6 on there. Again, whether you find this useful, can do canonical, and you can see this will give us information, the status, the URL, the content type, and the actual address itself. Images. We can see we can show images. We can say there's 4 images on the home page, 3 on the second page. If we want to show those, we can click and we can come in and find out more information, including file sizes and those kinds of things. So quite cool to see. Links, images, how to, the alt tags, the size of it, lots and lots of granular data. So you can see there's tons of options inside there. Next up, we have diagnostics. And if we open this up, we can see some basic information. So there's the page, the number of requests, the number of fonts that are being used, scripts, style sheets, and so on. I'm not really too sure how this is really about diagnostics. I mean, I'll analyze this and let that run through. So we'll say we'll analyze this particular one and see if it comes back with any data. But as it is, it's going to go through and analyze that. So we'll let that do its process and nothing really happens. So I'm not really too sure what's going on with this, but that's the diagnostic side of things. I'm sure there's a lot more info going on in there than I'm kind of getting privy to. Let's hop over to the syntax. And we can see Freelance Friday, the homepage has 4 errors and 7 warnings. And if we click on one of those, we'll see exactly what those errors are. So we can find out what we might need to do. You can see attribute loading not allowed on element image at this point. So this is, by the looks of it, it's going to either be down to Elementor where I'm using that, or the theme that I might be using causing these issues. But obviously that would need a little bit of investigating. But it's there, and again, useful info if you need it for fault finding. Uptime is just going to give us the uptime. There's the overview we saw earlier on, but we're going to see a lot more basic, sort of like analysis of various different things. So request time, you can see 0.9 seconds, 2.28 seconds, any status code errors like 404s and so on, and how long ago this was. So this is just kind of going to ping the server on a semi-regular basis and kind of come back with if there's any downtime on there, and also how long it took for that request to kind of go out and then come back. Okay, so again, as useful as you might find it, obviously there are better services out there that will give you warnings, and I've covered some of those in the past. And then finally we have settings, and this is just basically where we can change the project name, assign it to a team if you want to use team members, or we could delete this project and start all over again with a new one. So if we using this for client sites, for example, and that client no longer wants to use this, they move on, or they just don't want this service, they want to pay for it, whatever, you can delete that account and you can open up that slot so you could use it again out of your allotted 10 websites. So that's a kind of overview of Screpy. This is just my kind of first look at it. I've literally only had this a day or so. I've only began testing it. Whether you'd find it useful is up to you. You might already have tools that cover some of this or all of this, in which case this might not be of any use at all. But for the investment of $49 and for what you're getting to track those 10 sites with a lot of actionable data, if you don't have options in place right now, this could be something that could be useful. Or you may have those options in place, but you'd like to have a unified location specifically for monitoring, notifications, historical data, all the kinds of things that I've shown you, then maybe this is something to take a look at. And with a sort of entry fee of $49 for 10 websites for lifetime, I think it's kind of worth a punt. And that's basically what I've done with it. I've taken a punt on it to see how it goes. It's AppSumo. If I don't find I have any use for it, I don't like it, or it just doesn't work the way I want it to, I've got 60 days to get my cash back on it. So there's no real risk by purchasing this, for me anyway. Like I say, you let me know in the comment section if you've grabbed this. If you haven't grabbed it, is this something you consider grabbing? Do you think it's useful, or do you already have tools that you use to do this kind of thing? If you do, let me know in the comment section what you're using, and if you bought Screpy, let me know your feedback on it. So one thing I feel Screpy is missing right now is the option for automated site reports. If you're using this for clients, the ability to have a report emailed out to cover some of the key metrics will be incredibly useful. So for example, showing an SEO overview or report on uptime could help keep you or your client informed as the site fluctuates online. Now hopefully this is something that is part of their roadmap and something that will be included in future releases. Until I know more though, let's just assume that this isn't the case, and if something like this is a deal breaker for you, then maybe you need to look elsewhere. But with that being said, for $49 for 10 sites and a lifetime deal, it does seem like a bit of a bargain for the amount of data and information that's included. Could you get the majority of this data elsewhere? Absolutely. But you have to ask yourself if you want to do that or if a centralized location is worth more to you, in which case a tool like Screpy may be the perfect solution. As always, all the applicable links are in the description below, and in this case it is an affiliate link. Now if you've made it this far into the video, why not give that thumbs up a click? It really does help me out. While you're at it, if you like the content, why not also click the subscribe button and slap the bell icon? But if you didn't get value from the video, well, feel free to hit that thumbs down button twice, as that seems to work pretty well too. My name is Paul C, this is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.